Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York on Long Island. Best place to go, really, to get anything you need with regards to emergency supplies in case you do need them or might have to replace some that have worn out, pumps, generators, etc. 631-756-1125 is the website. You're supporting a local business. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. Whether you want your home decorated or you want to do this as a business. 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York. And their phone number is 631-957-5106. LIHolidayLighting.com is the website there. All right, let's take you through what's going on here with Tropical Storm Elsa. If you look on the wide U.S. satellite loop, you can definitely see the rotation. It actually has a fairly decent signature here on the satellite. One of the things I'm watching for is back in the Great Lakes, there are two upper troughs. There's one in the eastern part of the Great Lakes, east toward Lake Huron, and you can see those higher cloud tops there. And there is a second shortwave that is right behind it that is moving along. And here, of course, is Elsa as it continues to make progress northeastward. And what we're going to watch for is whether these upper troughs or the whole broad trough in general winds up energizing this storm to an extent. Oftentimes, when we get storms moving up into this latitude, they start to react to energy in the colder part of the atmosphere. So they don't really maintain a true tropical structure. They start to transition over into a non-tropical system. And as we saw last year, for example, with Isaias, it wound up producing 6 hours of very, very strong winds. I think the wind in this particular instance is not going to be a big issue. It's mainly going to be offshore. And since the storm is not inland when it moves by us, it's actually going to be moving by right along the immediate coast. We'll be on the west side. Now, that means the winds will be less of a factor, but it also means that rain will be a bigger factor. If you watch the loop carefully here, and I'll give you a close-up view, you'll notice that the clouds, the bright white cloud tops, are beginning to arc back on the west side. That's usually what happens with these storms as they move further north. The rain area shifts to the west and the strongest winds stay in the eastern quadrant. That's pretty much how it usually works out. And meanwhile, we do have clouds streaming northeastward. If you are outside at all today, you'll notice there's a very, very tropical feel to the atmosphere. The dew points are in the 70s. Temperatures are in the 80s. With the broken clouds, we're going to see some sunshine and daytime heating. There's a possibility for some pop-up showers and thunderstorms this afternoon into this evening. I think the best chances for those will be inland, and they should be scattered. That will not be as a result of the tropical storm. It's just basically as a result of being embedded in this very, very tropical environment. And here's the radar signature as of 10:45 a.m. Eastern time. Again, notice it's a fairly wide area of rain, covers much of North Carolina, but we're seeing, again, the center is just on the South Carolina-North Carolina border, about 100 miles or so northwest of Myrtle Beach. And the rain area, again, to the west means that if we take a track just offshore, places in New Jersey, easternmost Pennsylvania, on up into the lower Hudson Valley, and in Connecticut, for example, particularly western Connecticut, that's where we could wind up seeing more rain out of this, the heavier rainfalls of 2 to perhaps 3 inches, maybe even some locally higher amounts. And that's why we have the flash flood watches up for areas inland, as well as, of course, we have the tropical storm warnings that are up along the coast. Just a quick look at the surface map. We're following this along, and just judging by the wind direction and the pressure changes, looks like Elsa's center is right here, and we're seeing some gusts occasionally to 40 to 50 miles an hour along the immediate coast. I think that's one of the reasons why this is still being classified as a tropical storm rather than being downgraded to a depression. And the track again continues where we follow the biggest pressure falls. It's moving along onto the northeast. The Storm Prediction Center has a marginal risk of severe weather, and this is partly due to whatever thunderstorms pop up this afternoon. And this continues through tonight into tomorrow morning. And we're going to see perhaps some severe thunderstorms embedded in that area of rain as Elsa moves up the coast, and a slight risk of severe weather the southern Delmarva Peninsula down into North Carolina. We might get that nudged up a little bit further north. And here's WPC's, the Weather Prediction Center's forecast for rain. You can see this narrow band of 2 to 3 inch rainfalls, or maybe even as much as 4 inches from central North Carolina into southeastern Virginia, then up along and just inland of the coast through New Jersey into the Hudson Valley and into southern and southwestern New England. So the track of the storm itself, if you put yourself on the edge of the 1.5 inches, which is where the purple is, you can see that it's going to track over southern Delmarva, right along the immediate New Jersey coast, and then continuing on to the northeast from there. And also the Weather Prediction Center has a moderate risk of flash flooding occurring in northeastern New Jersey to New York City, western Long Island, the lower Hudson Valley, and then cutting across in a narrow band through Connecticut and into Massachusetts, and a slight risk of flash flooding going down through eastern PA into Virginia, and of course down into North Carolina. This is the forecast track from the 8 a.m. advisory, actually from the 5 a.m. forecast. And it really hasn't changed very much from yesterday. Maybe it was nudged a shade further to the west. The track by 2 a.m., the storm will be coming off the coast of southern Delaware and then tracking very close to the center of the storm, tracking very close to Atlantic City to the northeast, maybe touching or crossing eastern Long Island into southeastern Rhode Island. So on this track, again, the wind issues will be primarily offshore, and the rain issues will be to the north and west of the storm track. I think that's pretty much how it's going to stay. And by the way, with respect to the wind, if we get some of these bands, these heavier squall bands that rotate on through, it's quite possible that you could get some gusty winds if there's a couple of severe thunderstorms embedded in there, that you'll see the wind pick up briefly in those storms when they occur during the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. So we have the new NAM model, and I'm just going to break it down in terms of timing. So this is at 8 o'clock this evening. You'll notice that for much of the area from eastern PA to southern New England, there's not really a whole lot going on. There's some thunderstorms up in northeastern Pennsylvania, extending south and west. So that, I think, reflects the possibility of some pop-up showers and storms. And now we'll move it to 11 p.m. The one thing I will say is the rain shield on the NAM model here, how it sees the radar, is probably a little underdone. But even at this point, their rain is not in yet. And if we follow the model literally, so this is at 2 a.m., seeing that big, that east-west band of heavy rains and squalls coming into southern New Jersey, through central Delaware, into eastern Maryland. And then by 5 a.m., the low center over Atlantic City, that arc of heavy rain moving through New Jersey to about New York City and into Long Island. And then the low comes off the New Jersey coast and then straddles the south shore of Long Island. Looks like on the NAM anyway, it wants to cross it somewhere near Riverhead and then moves on into southeastern New England. This is at noon tomorrow. And so by once the low goes by, there's nothing much on the southwest side. So this is at 8 a.m. It's already done in southern New Jersey, done in eastern PA, done in Delaware, done in Maryland, about to come to an end in New York City, and gradually ending during the morning hours across Long Island and through southern New England. And of course, by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Elsa is at this point transitioning into an extratropical system and is sitting just east of Boston. So at least we can see what the breakdown in terms of the timing is going to be with respect to Tropical Storm Elsa. Let me just see if the new advisory is up yet. And it is not. So it'll probably be coming out shortly. I'd be curious to see what the Hurricane Center says with regards to hints of strengthening. Again, let's keep an eye on this setup here with these upper troughs to the north, that they could very well energize this a little bit more. When one of the keys to that is to just watch the signature on the satellite, whether it starts to look a bit more impressive as it nears southeastern Virginia and starts to get closer to moving offshore, which will happen sometime during tonight. Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125 is the telephone number. The website, omnitruevalue.com. Wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst. 631-957-5106 and liholidaylighting.com is the website there. Tonight, the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:30 Eastern Time. So be sure to tune in for that as we watch what happens with Elsa as it moves on up to the northeast. Let me just say, overall, in terms of trying to describe this, I would just say that this will be a 6 to 8 hour event. The main threat, I think, is going to be heavy rain for that period of time. There could produce some localized flash flooding. There might be some gusty winds along the coast. Overall, it should be manageable unless for some reason at the last minute those upper troughs make this thing a little bit stronger. And that's what we'll be focusing on. So don't forget the Joe and Joe Weather Show tonight at 7:30 on my YouTube channel. Have a great day, everybody.